Hello and welcome to the final day of Gardentober. I'm excited to dive into our prompt today, partially because it's the last one. If you're new to Gardentober, you're not sure what I'm talking about, it's just an annual drawing challenge that I host. This year I decided to share all of my prompts on YouTube, and today is our final prompt, and the prompt is orchard. I am also exploring something new today. This is artistreferencephotos.com. They're free reference images that are available. It is hosted by commonly known as Mrs. Mustard Seed or Marion. It has a lot of ads, which I'm not going to hold against her because that's just how we make funds. Was really interested in this tree. Isn't that one fun? But I ended up choosing, where is it? I really like this one. It actually reminds me of the shape of an apple. See what I said about the ads? Oh my goodness. So be careful who you're, where your kids are while you're doing this. Anyway, I just really like the shape of this. I like the cow underneath it. And so I thought a vignette kind of like this, where it's slightly off to the side. We've got this tree line in the back that's kind of fun. I thought that that would make some fun dimension. And I have a callback to one of my favorite memories, and I was actually at her house this week talking to her about her apple tree. I'll be using my B pencil, just B instead of my HB. I've been kind of favoring going with the softer lead lately. However, I am kind of killing the eraser on this thing. So we'll be pulling in my white eraser over here, and let's get started. So I'll have the reference image that I'm working on the screen that I will continue to refer to throughout this process, and let's get started. I'm going to, as always, just kind of sketch out where I want things to go. Just placing everything, and as always, I will have it lightly placed on the screen. So this goes, I'm going to exaggerate the angle of this fence here. We've got our cow. Maybe we'll add another one, maybe a little baby down here. We've got this tree line. We want the horizon line to not be in the center of the page, so I might move it up a little bit. And then kind of the trees in the background, doing one of those. So not really a full orchard, but we're going to go with it. So I'm just going to start with kind of the contour of the leaf canopy overall. And if you're new to art and drawing with me, contour simply means an outline. So it is an expressive outline. So we're going to just kind of try and capture some of these sections, not being too precise. It is a tree. We can kind of let it do its thing. I'm also working with a nice sharp pencil, occasionally just following some of these sections in. So we've got kind of this empty space here. I'm going very carefully on this section because this is going to be kind of the main description of this tree here. And I might vary from a bit because I'm not making great progress. So I might kind of blend some of these areas together. So I'm going to kind of jump down, skip some of this section. Let this kind of come up here. This section is a little harder to see, but we have a pretty good pattern of what this tree's growth habit is like. We can kind of just follow that a little bit. And I'm just carefully, I'm actually using my finger, so if we kind of go over here, as I'm drawing, I'm kind of following with my finger, my lack of painted nail, excuse that, following with my finger, and so that if I glance away at my paper for a moment just to kind of check on progress, when I come back, I'm still tracking, especially because we're kind of trying to weed out what section is this tree and what is this tree in the background, and then obviously even more trees. So while I have kind of an idea that I'm following, I don't want to lose track of that. Okay, if our cow's here, then I'm going to want to kind of jump down a little bit. We'll leave an empty space here. I'm just going to kind of try and make sense of this. Now let's see, back up here, now that we've got this section kind of planned out, we're going to fill in some of this. And then we've got this lower section here, which again, it's kind of tricky to see. I'm kind of just following some of these dark shapes loosely in order to kind of create some sense and shape. All right, back up here. We've got kind of the leader established, like a good healthy tree. Don't like that. Just didn't like the shape of it, so I'm going to come down. It was just getting a little too, like, we had kind of a bump here, bump, and it was looking a little too predictable. So I'm going to exaggerate kind of this cut down section. Let it come down a little more. And then pop up a little more. Okay, I'm going to open up some of these areas here. We've got this section, this little indent here. We're going to go down and just kind of carve out gently. Actually, we're going to follow from this line, this highlighted area. And I find it works best if all of the sections that I'm carving out are loosely connected. So you don't just kind of carve out a big section in the middle. You can, again, loosely connected where they're kind of leading to each other. There might be like a slight break in the line here, like that. But where generally it's, your eye has something to follow. So in my experience at this point and kind of the style that I'm loving. And then kind of a branch off up here that will lead to kind of some empty space here. That again kind of connects. And letting this kind of fall off the edge. I might actually bring down, let's see, we've got kind of some foliage here. So we've got this section that comes off a branch that's kind of funny here. Actually, I want this, I'm going to cheat this over here a little bit. And I am kind of, seems like I'm shrinking everything down a little bit, and that's okay. This just kind of migrated south. I'm going to draw this section here. And this section kind of goes off camera, or off the, I mean, it is a picture, so off camera. And I'm going to just, again, kind of make it up based on what I already know. I like how it goes off. Kind of hugs the composition a little better. All right, we've got a section here in the middle that we're going to draw. Isn't it funny how it's like the tree seems so simple until you start working on it? And suddenly it's very complicated. It has all of these different sections. But to take out some of this overwhelm that is very natural to feel, we're just going one section at a time, and it suddenly is just full of very manageable bites that we can totally handle. So these two in my reference image should not be touching, but that's okay. I'm going to bring it together, and the fact that this is a tree makes it matter significantly less that it's perfect. I have drawn trees that I did one of the last standing Liberty trees or something like that several years ago. And so I did have to like get an accurate, you know, like likeness of the tree, which even seems silly to say. But here I'm just trying to capture kind of some of the movement that's happening here. And some of it kind of starts to get a little more airy up here. back here. So we've got this kind of opening. And even though I'm not sticking to the reference image as gospel, it's still helpful to have it because I can kind of place different sections in to my composition in order to make it look more realistic, more intentional, more like an actual tree. Okay, so we've got opening here. This is kind of hasn't been mapped out totally. Don't get too bogged down with kind of some of the nitty gritty. We'll be adding kind of some individual leaves, kind of like what we started doing here, where we're making some sections look, so like this section here, it has a little more airiness in the reference image, and so I can kind of carve out certain areas in order to give it kind of that airier feel. You can also, if we have kind of areas with individual leaves that break away, we can do that here where we have sections that just have a little bit more freedom and break out a little bit. And kind of start to add that in. That's more of kind of a finalizing element, but something that can be helpful. Now I'm going to add in, excuse me, throat's a little congested, and I'm going to add in this trunk. I'm just kind of creating a plane for it to rest on by adding some foliage here. And defining the trunk a little bit more. Then I'm going to go back in and add some more detail. Maybe I don't know. Let's do what we know. This comes out here. Slight angle up, slight angle down. Then we have a drastic down and a fun curve here. And if I want to, I can kind of open up sections here, or maybe this comes out here. I've got a little bit of a branch kind of just poking out. All right, and then here in this opening, there's definitely that leader branch coming in. I'm going to have it overlapped here, heading up towards the top, but we also have a branch coming off of it here. And maybe we'll add something, a hint of it over here so that it can come out. That's not a good angle. The hardest part is kind of keeping track of that, where it's a negative space and it's not, so this would go, kind of follow that path up a little more. And then give the hint of some branching here. All right, I like where that is heading. I'm gonna shade in the trunk. Just let that be for now, the trunk and the branches, and let that be the deepest value for now. And see, I'm adding just kind of like dark sections right near that base that kind of creates this illusion that there's some more airiness in the leaf canopy. You can kind of see through to the trunk. Probably don't do it every time or it looks very formula. I'm going to be a little lighter. Let's see, sun is coming from this direction. And a little lighter on the right hand side. I'll probably go in and deepen everything a little bit more. But I prefer to build it up a little slower. I'm just a little more confident that way. Now, because the tree is on my right hand side and I am right-handed, it would be wise now to get a tissue to place underneath my palm. Again, deepening this base a little bit, this foliage that we have. Where's my tissue? There we go. Allowing that to trail off a little bit. Yeah, see, I already have some graphite. Graphite smudging. Don't want that. Whoops, stiff. All right, I'm going to draw this gate section here. A little bit lighter in the shading than our tree. And I'm going to actually have it point up a little bit instead of being straight across. So it kind of points towards our tree. If we don't like it, we'll just ditch it later. All right, and then I'll have 2 more here-ish. I'll probably add another about there. All right, I don't know if I have ever drawn a cow, to be perfectly honest. And if I were to draw one, I would probably recommend a better reference image, but that's okay. Got a reaching hind leg and a reaching foreleg. Set the tree. Now we got it down like this. Okay. I'll have to find another reference image for the baby. I don't know how their ears go. Got foliage there. Okay, so we've got a forehead area. Should have had the cow somewhere else. Nice long snout. And a rounded jaw leading into a sloping neck that is stretching to the leg, goes down a bit. Need a better reference image for that section, but let's get this in. Kind of boxy in the hind quarters. Low and then up a bit. We've got some fun markings. Might need to take her out. She's cute, but I think I need a better image to be able to draw her from not knowing cows well. I don't know, what do you think of my first ever cow drawing? I can't see her sweet face very well, so not my best. I did not have remember a couple years ago it was like people would have gigantic cow heads as their, I don't know, it was a thing. I didn't do it though. And then we'll add this one smaller. Still let that go this way. So that's kind of what we're working with composition so far. I'm gonna just kind of draw this implication of this line. Then we've got our horizon line, which curves a bit here. And then whoops, I'll draw some of this foliage back here. I don't want as much detail back here as we have here, so I'm just kind of really loosely following some of these shapes. It's got a more rounded tree, and it comes up a little higher. That leads to another one. Comes down and up and over. So even though these are really airy, I don't want to have like this tree that I'm playing with right now. Very airy, but I don't want to add too much to the overall weight of the piece. And then I'm just gonna finish that out here. I'll lightly shade this in. Just with some rough cross hatching. I guess hatching, so I'm not gonna cross it. Huh, found a hole that doesn't make sense. All right, I'm going to darken this trunk again, and then we'll add some hatching to the leaf canopy, and I think we'll just call her good. This fun little experiment to explore and try something new. I am excited. I enjoyed it. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And I want to explore this style a little more, but I have to kind of figure out what I want the hierarchy to be like. So I'm gonna have to experiment a little more. Just kind of some rough hatching. You can see those pencil marks, and I'm kind of enjoying that right now. So instead of everything being smoothly blended in, I don't know, there's something raw and kind of fun about it. All right, and let's add some hatching with our tree. So again, our light source is coming from the right. So most of our hatching and shading is going to be on the left-hand side. I'm just going to kind of carve out some of these sections. Let's see, let's do... Or should we just do the whole thing like that? I don't know. And if you're afraid of ruining your drawing by doing this, you might. You can always make a copy of it and then test it out on that. I do that a lot. I'll also use like tracing paper. I use that a lot in my courses to just experiment and see if it's going to turn out. But if you, I don't know, if you never try something because you're worried how it's going to turn out, you won't get to kind of explore and experiment. You won't figure out different styles that you like. I don't know, I always used to be the perfectly blended, everything had to be just perfectly so. And I'm finding that I actually really enjoy, at least right now in this season of life, the imperfection. Maybe I'll go through and deepen some of these lines. Just deepening some of these sections. I'm not going over every single area, but anything that I feel like it's kind of disappearing, I'll go back in and add a line or two. And it gives me courage. Next time I'm going to press a little harder, be a little gutsier, a little more confident. So some areas can disappear a little bit, but if everything's disappearing, well, that's not working, is it? So it's not quite what I originally pictured, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. I'm excited to pursue some of this sketching style a little bit more. I've done a lot of, I don't like how it's running into her head. Let's do that. Let's just raise it a little bit. Maybe I should add another cow here. Let's look at some of the other reference images. And then let's do her spots down here, up, over. And she's pretty dark into her face. Can't see that side. Face comes down. Sorry to all of the cow enthusiasts, I don't know exactly what I'm drawing over here. Hopefully I'm doing them at least partial justice. I'm having fun though, so I'm definitely encouraged to someday pursue trying to draw them a little bit more. I think that's the worst one. That's okay. You know, I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow in here. Why not? I just feel like it's a lot of white if I'm gonna have some shadows in here. So let's do some quick hatching. Put these ladies into some shade, even if it's only partially. Let's see, go back to the original reference image and see how far it goes out. Instead of just making it up. Oh, it actually went down here, but that's okay. We're gonna put it under our lovely ladies over here. Get a little deeper here. All right, and we'll call that good. I'm getting a little crazy here. All right. There's not really an orchard, but there is my apple tree with some lovely little cows underneath. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, that you had a little bit of fun with me, exploring just different ideas. I hope that you enjoyed Gardentober. If you'd like to participate in Gardentober, it is never too late. You can jump in now, even though this is technically like the last day. Feel free to jump in at any point. You can pursue different prompts. You can just use them as inspiration for you if you're trying to fill up a sketchbook just like I am. This is my last page. Woohoo! So anyway, I hope that you are having a wonderful day, that you enjoyed this whole process, the drawing process, Gardentober, just the creative community that we've had. I hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. And until next time, happy drawing.